Jerry Brown with Jerry Brown Travels. Come on a magical mystery tour through Angkor Wat, Cambodia. Jerry Brown here with Jerry Brown's Travels. And you know, I'd like to make a suggestion to you. If you're ever traveling, you ever come across a place like this here, Angkor Wat, a wonder of the world, you know, a heritage site, anything where history is involved, take the time to do a little reading about the history of it, or do a simple thing, spend about an hour on YouTube and watch a YouTube video or two and get an idea of the history. It's going to make your trip so much more enjoyable. You'll really enjoy it and have a lot more of a story to tell when you get back. What we've done now is we've come over to Uncle Tom, another temple here. And this is an interesting one because in the background, I'm going to show you some pictures of the different faces. There's all these faces within here. Some of them have four sides. There'll be a face on each side and a face on this side. So let's take a little walk around. We'll show you what Uncle Tom looks like. You know, Asia is so exotic and it's such an adventure to come here, just to be able to go back. I always say I like going back in history. When we travel to countries where I can go 100 years, but now I'm going back 900 years. I'm able to look at these masons, these stone masons, these carvers, these craftspeople, how they've created this beautiful, beautiful structures around Angkor Wat. And we as tourists can just come here and enjoy their handiwork. There's something amazing about it, you know. And if you ever get a chance to get here, be able to come, please do it, you know. Jerry Brown here with Jerry Brown's Travels, and today we're in Cambodia. We're at Angkor Wat, and what I want to do is I want to show you this beautiful heritage site here. It's a wonder of the world, okay? And it's actually, people call it a temple. And what Angkor Wat means, it means city and temple. And what the king had done is he needed a place to have his remains buried. And so what it is, it's a tomb. It's not a temple. It's like the Taj Mahal. The Taj Mahal is not a beautiful big structure or a castle. It actually is a tomb also. So what we're going to do, behind me here, we're going to walk through these gates. This is the main gates coming into the temple, and we'll take a look at the grounds in here. Now this angle of the temple, I want to show you. You'll see these 5 towers in there, and there's one on each corner of the compound, and in the middle is the main tower, and at the very base of it is where the king's ashes were laid. And remember, again, this is a representation of a mountain of the Hindu culture in heaven. And so it's very important that the king be buried at the right location that will lead him into the afterlife. And so this, with the 4 towers and the one in the middle, gives you an idea what it's supposed to be about. This is the 5 towers representation of heaven on earth. What we've done here is we've hiked all the way to the top of this platform area here. And behind me here is where the middle spiral or the middle column was built. And that's the highest peak here. I understand it's higher than the Eiffel Tower. But as we look down at the base down here, and this is where the king was buried, the base down. Here we see another example of nature taking over this temple here. And it's just amazing how powerful it is that these roots would grow over these beautiful temples over here like that. So take a look. Look how high it is and how it's just engulfed all of this here. This is definitely a wonder of the world, just to see this part of nature.
I'm wondering, what's your job?
This corridor here goes, I'm going to say 300 yards long, with the story being told on the wall here, engraved in the sandstone, and it depicts the history of kings over the time of war, of conquering other nations, of elephants, the building of the temple. It just gives this is the book, and this is how they wrote it down. Where we're standing right now, take a guess what it is. Well, I'll tell you, it's not a temple, and it's not a palace or anything like that. It's actually a crematorium. It's where the bodies were brought here. Of course, it had to have been the royal family, somebody of great prestige, to be able to, have their bodies burnt here. And of course, they believe in reincarnation, so they protected the bodies, they buried them sacredly, so this way in a new life, they could come back and be rich again and healthy and have power and all. Angkor Wat was constructed in the 12th century. The total area of Angkor Wat is larger than Los Angeles. The 5 peaks represents a mystical heaven in Hindu culture. It was in the 1400s that the Khmer people started to leave the area, and then in the 1500s is when the Buddhist monks came in and converted it into the Buddhist temple that it is today. Some upcoming videos that may interest you. Hotels on the beach in Cambodia. How about cheap food in Cambodia? Also, I have a little larger video on Angkor Wat that tells how it was built. How about retiring in Mexico, $450 a month? This has been Jerry Brown with Jerry Brown's Travels. How about a subscriptions? I would appreciate that, and I think you'll enjoy our travels around the world.